Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what would a tarot reader tell them about you? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Lapis Lazuli. Group 2 is the African Jade. And group 3 is the Stichtite. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. Chose the Lapis Lazuli. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's take a quick peek into what a tarot reader would tell this person about you. So we have the Ancient Ones, the Hummingbird, the Lower World, and Earthkeeper. So right away, this Earthkeeper energy is definitely tying into a tarot reader telling this person right away that you yourself are a keeper because you have cultivated or unearthed some degree of primordial power. Maybe you've called your personal power back to you through, it feels like an arduous and multi-layered, maybe a process that is stretched over the course of years. Dive into some deep shadows within yourself, maybe tower moments that you have been through. You've risen from the ashes stronger, more self-aware, self-assured. And a tarot reader, any good tarot reader, would definitely encourage somebody to sort of value this trait and this quality within you. This is the makings of a person that would be a reliable partner, the type of person that you would want to ride through the storms of life, having them by your side. This is something also that a tarot reader would tell them not to underestimate your ability to find creative solutions beyond problems. That might be something that almost as well could be presented as some degree of a warning or just a little bit of a notice to this person that they better be upfront with you, very transparent, that you have a heightened intuition, a very strong sense of self. You follow your gut instincts, you follow that intuition and that higher knowing, and this is something which is a valuable asset in partnerships, platonic friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships, but is also something which through your struggles, through your process, through kind of whatever you've cultivated for yourself as far as a practice that sort of surrounds these principles, that this is something which also kind of equips you with such a high level of discernment, that you are a person who follows those instincts, doesn't really put up with a lot of nonsense. You've come too far in your journey to settle or to lower your standards, and that you are very adept at kind of seeing behind the masks and the facades of what people present, that you're very in tune with your own sort of personal energy force or force field, and therefore are able to kind of pick up bits of dissonance in the vibrational fields of other people that you come into contact with. The idea of the Ancient Ones can speak about family patterns that you have been working to overcome. This may even be kind of like personal patterns that have emerged again and again in interpersonal relationships of all varieties, that again, a tarot reader would describe this as both a strength to a person inquiring about you, but also as a way to kind of put them on notice that you've been through a lot. You've cut through a lot of nonsense in your life. Maybe you've cut a lot of people out or restructured the boundaries, even with close family members or longtime friends. In some way, you are in a season or a stage in your life where you're really prioritizing your own sense of wellness in an all-encompassing manner. And people who are not able or willing to sort of contribute to that harmony, that are taking more than they are giving in return or exchange, there's a sense here of a tarot reader letting this person or a person inquiring about you in a romantic sense know that you apply kind of universally across the board at this particular stage in time. You really sort of value your time, you value this version of yourself that you've built, and you're very discerning about the company that you keep. Quick to cut people off when things start to feel strange or unusual, energetically speaking. Again, very tied into your own intuition, your own higher guidance. Perhaps even, having cultivated a stronger relationship with ancestors, spirit guides, angels, the divine itself. It feels that through this process of maybe overcoming some challenges or really being kind of on a quest to find your place in the world, find your purpose. Maybe you have discovered that and are very goal-oriented. These are things that a tarot reader would all bring up as strengths concerning you as partnership material, as kind of like long-term romantic potential. But then there is also kind of, again, this caveat of, you're not somebody to be taken for granted. You know your own worth. You know your own value. Maybe at other points in your life you settled for less than you deserve, but at this point in time you've raised the bar on who has access to you. And so with that being said, someone moving towards you with the eyes of love need also move towards you with an openness and an honesty and integrity within themselves, that what they are presenting mirrors and matches the truth of the intentions that they hold within their secret heart. There's a sense of you being able to kind of, again, read between the lines or take peeks behind the masks that people wear or present, that you're not so easily kind of swayed by first appearances, first impressions. You're somebody that kind of reads beyond the face value of circumstances, situations, reads energy as opposed to purely just relying on what is said or what is presented. And this is something that it feels like a tarot reader would encourage a person, that having a romantic relationship with you would be a transformative experience in many ways, that you would both be somebody to create a space of safety. Maybe if this person were to, want to kind of quest within themselves, do some shadow work, or out of necessity had to, kind of like the ups and downs of life, tower moments, you're the type of person that any sensible individual would want by their side in kind of those more difficult times. During the rainstorm, you'd be the one with the umbrella or dancing there in the rain right alongside this person. And that this is something that you cultivated through a series and a process of hard work, discernment within yourself, rising and out of the ashes, overcoming challenges in various ways. And so in a romantic relationship, it feels like this is something that a tarot reader would tell this person. You expect kind of similar or mirrored energy, people that are on the same trajectory and path toward growth, toward overcoming limitations with self, asking those questions within, sort of like, is my behavior, are my patterns serving my highest good, or are these things which are stifling and limiting my abundance, my growth, me living my best life in a variety of ways. A sense of, again, great growth is possible as an individual, and also in terms of the scope and spectrum of what can be experienced romantically. But at the same point in time, this is also kind of the essence here of a tarot reader picking up on that you are somebody who will not settle for stagnancy within romantic partnerships. You challenge yourself to grow and evolve on a constant and ever-changing basis, and that same sort of standard applies as well to romantic connections or deep friendships that you have, people who are committed to continually sort of inventorying, checking in with self. Am I in alignment with my core principles? Is the life that I am living, or the things that I'm feeding my energy into, the company that I'm keeping presently, whatever it is that I'm doing in my life, is this in alignment with a sense of me feeling excited about the life that I'm living, or am I just going through the motions and kind of sleepwalking through the years? A lot of deep transformation that's possible, kind of a way shower energy here, sort of a light in the darkness. You've cultivated or become that for yourself. So a tarot reader may also point out, if it is not already directly obvious, or they may bring it up as well anyway, that you may be in alignment or kind of gearing up to come more into a state of alignment with some kind of soul mission, purpose, light work. The energy of an earth angel is coming through here as well, and that is kind of your main sort of priority, your main focus. Even if you're looking for love, even if you're dating, that there's some kind of other thread to your narrative here on the earth plane that is opening up for you, or that you've already invested a lot of time in kind of deciphering and cultivating for yourself. And so you expect a partner that kind of brings similarly to the table some kind of questioning as far as deeper meaning and purpose, has taken steps to sort of evaluate what are the boundaries within self, what are my limits, what are ways in which I can transcend that. A tarot reader might also kind of point out or put out there that you have a very keen ability to create abundance for yourself, but also sense opportunities for abundance. And so again, kind of personal growth within the relationship, not being so tied down to any kind of one linear path, but being very open-minded as far as unanticipated potential, very quick on your feet to kind of make moves, make transitions, adaptability being an essence here that comes through strongly as well. So I'm going to get a few more cards and dive in a little bit deeper, and then I'll also get some guidance that a tarot reader would give this person as far as proceeding in a romantic connection with you. But let's take a little deeper look at some other things that might come up that they would let this person know about. Okay, we've got bear, dragon, deer, and zebra. So this energy of deer brings about kind of the essence of gentleness, but it also kind of carries more of that sort of putting this person on notice a little bit of, don't take this individual's kindness for weakness. Don't think that because they have a big heart, or they are smiling after everything that they've been through, that they don't possess some degree of grit within themselves, some awareness of kind of their raw potential within them that may have largely gone untapped for a period of time in their life. But it feels like a tarot reader would be able to pick up on you either in sort of a transitional period in your life. Maybe your career is changing, your priorities are changing, your focus is changing, again, like goal or mission or life purpose, all of that kind of has changed, is changing. You're in the process of sort of creating newness for yourself while still sort of taking care of duties and obligations and responsibilities of what you already have in place. But whatever kind of is apparent about you or that you're focused on at this point in time, it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you are capable of. And in some way, that you are aligned in that direction. You're facing that due north deeply within of, here is this kind of raw potential. Here is this part of me that is very resilient, that I nurture, that I nourish, that I'm very self-protective of. That personal power being utilized as a way to be kind of a way shower to others, a guide to others, maybe something that you're working to develop as far as like a spiritually based business, or anything that's like a passion project, some kind of creative endeavor, some ways in which you have very successfully up to this point in time alchemized your own personal pain into a source of personal empowerment. But it feels like it's something as well that this might be kind of an element where there's almost a need perhaps for a romantic partner to self-evaluate the nature of their own ego, that they may point out that you're a very kind of driven or ambitious person. You know, that bar that was raised as far as who has access to you, it feels that that also is something that you apply to yourself. You hold yourself to a very high standard, you know, goals that you are working toward. There's also kind of this element of planning beyond that for the future. And so again, kind of this prospect of growth is possible on an interpersonal level for people that are in your life, for you know, people that you are dating or you're involved with romantically speaking. But unless individuals are willing to continue to sort of challenge themselves and exceed their own limits, you are not above kind of outgrowing a person or situation, that you're in a point in your life where your greatest loyalty is to yourself, this version of you that you have had to work to salvage or to cultivate or to reformat in some kind of way. And in keeping with that, it feels that it's something where it's quite obvious that, again, there's a softness of nature, there's kind of a generosity here, there's a creativity, but at the same point in time, your discernment is on point at this point. You know, your personal boundaries, you've created those as they exist for a reason. There's a sense here of almost, and I'll get into that guidance in just a minute here, as far as what they would kind of tell them from whatever your point is that they'd be getting this hypothetical reading going forward. But how to kind of relate to someone like you, it's with an energy of you know, respect, but also at the same point in time kind of you know, awareness of the degree of almost self-respect that you have through having to maybe maintain compassion for yourself when others around you were not so generous, or the things that you were needing to deal with or kind of break free from or rise above. You know, you may have had to kind of go this alone, sort of a solo path, a blending of traditions, sort of leaving a lot of parts of yourself or the life that you were living behind in order to kind of bring in something new or something more suited to the type of person you're developing into, and that there's something that's very kind of cherished or protected about that. You're very self-protective in that capacity, and so kind of operating with the highest of integrity as possible, kind of moving with caution, but also being aware that within a limitlessness, within a factor of trust, or like an openness or a willingness to change, the sky's the limit. There's almost kind of an infectiousness about you as far as people that sort of go with the flow of how it is you're living your life, or what it is that you're focusing on in their own unique way, can also experience profound transformation within themselves, or be inspired to kind of start to do that inventory, make those changes within themselves. That a relationship with you is not for the faint of heart, but can also be very kind of rewarding as far as the person that one is when they enter into a romantic connection with you, versus kind of who somebody is encouraged to develop into in a time and manner of their own choosing. That you provide a very kind of sound and safe environment for people to explore things that maybe are not ordinarily kind of encouraged within relationships. Usually people get in relationships and there's kind of a building of a symbiosis, a closeness. There's a sense here of almost, amidst that symbiosis, there's a high emphasis on individuality. So a sense of almost encouraging someone to proceed forward in a romantic connection with you, because you're someone who is very valuing of your own individuality, and very capable through kind of practicing what you preach, of holding space for another person, a romantic partner, to cultivate and to nurture that own sense of individuality that they step into the connection with. So that it's essentially almost like power couple energy, two empowered individuals kind of working toward a collective goal with one another. And that's the essence of what is to be expected, or what can be experienced, can be kind of like harnessed and maximized through a relationship, through a romantic relationship with you, is not just all the lovey-dovey and the kisses and the feel-good sort of energies, but it's also something which it feels like challenges, you know, the romantic partner to kind of self-evaluate and really kind of rise above whatever their own limitations are, their beliefs about love or experiences, and of kind of how they move through the world in general. So let's get some of that advice that this hypothetical tarot reader would give to this hypothetical person about a reading that they might be getting about you. What would be the best kind of course of action moving forward? Okay, we have liberation and protection. So the advice would be to be very clear and honest as far as this person's feelings are concerned. Again, because of some high level of intuition or discernment that a tarot reader would pick up that you have, there's a sense of don't hold back feelings, don't kind of lead with conversations intended only to impress, that there's a sense of you are at a point in your life where even if you have a lot on your plate, there's almost a simplicity to things. You're not in a point to sort of entertain nonsense. And so clarity is definitely the key to your heart, or one of the routes to your heart at this point in time, or the building of trust. And so the guidance would be, you know, no matter kind of how slow or rapid of a pace that would feel most comfortable for the person getting the reading, you know, to lead with the heart, to trust that their emotions, their struggle, wherever it is that they are at in their life journey, that you are a person who has the ability to empathize with journeys of personal transformation, that even if these are words that you don't necessarily want to hear, you value honesty and words from the heart being spoken. And so in order to kind of press the connection forward, or to evolve into the next sort of stage or manifestation, there would be encouragement toward openness and honesty as far as feelings, even if that involved saying, I'm afraid of the fact that moving deeper into a relationship with you signals some profound personal transformation within me. If I conjunct myself with sort of the wave that you are riding, it is guaranteed that I will have to go through some sort of process of metamorphosis. And if this person getting the reading was kind of not ready for that, there's an essence here of a reader letting them know to be honest up front, to not kind of delay hurt feelings or disappointments, but to just be very direct with sort of the conveyance of that. This is where I'm at emotionally speaking. This is what I can give. This is sort of what I'm looking for in love. And it might be something where, again, kind of like a relationship with you is not for the faint of heart. So it might even be something where if this person getting the tarot reading was kind of on the fence about if they want to proceed with you, if they want to invest further, or if it might be time to sort of part ways, there's a sense of not holding back in that capacity, but opening up those lines of communication and conversation to see, is compromise possible, or is it better to just cut the losses at this particular point in time? So I'm going to get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you, or someone that you might have had in mind that was getting a tarot reading about you, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got Y, C, N, A, B, L, R, T, H, M, Y, and P. Okay, I didn't bring out the usual dish that I hold these little letters up, so I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully good enough. Okay, so those were your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the African Jade. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what would a tarot reader tell the person on your mind or somebody who has romantic feelings for you? What would a tarot reader tell them about you? Master, Upper World, the Spiral, and the Rainbow. So there's definitely a sense of fate and destiny in this group, a past life connection. This time master energy, that the two of you have known one another across time and space, many different lifetimes. The title and nature of whatever this connection is will vary from person to person, but it feels like in an all-encompassing way, past life soulmate is the safest blanket term to use from all the different variations that can be out there. There's a sense here of a lightness of energy, though, triggering, which may be sort of part of the nature of why the two of you have encountered one another, with this energy of the spiral, breaking free of patterns, or even kind of the essence with this idea of rainbow. It's reminding me of 10 of Cups energy out of kind of traditional Rider-Waite tarot, that there might be a sense of almost you and this person represent some sort of gift to one another as a result of successfully completing or breaking free of patterns and cycles in the last chapter of your life, maybe that you've been working toward in this lifetime in general, or even something over the course of successive lifetimes. You've arrived here to this juncture in time, and now is the opportunity to sort of reap the rewards and kind of the cherry on the cake of all of your efforts up to this point in time to move closer into a place of healthy and balanced reciprocal and unconditional love for self, and then emanating that out, you've essentially magnetized one another in on that frequency, on that beacon, and on that station between the two of you. So definitely a sense here of a tarot reader most likely encouraging this person to continue to explore kind of the subtleties and the depths and the nuances of the connection, signs and synchronicities that may start kind of pouring in, or may have motivated someone like this to go and get a reading about you. Sort of, what's the nature of this? Who is this person? And why am I reminded of them constantly? The sense of the upper world also really speaks to an angelic connection, a connection with spirit guides, with your higher self. So it feels like this tarot reader would pick up that you are a very spiritually aligned individual, somebody who may also resonate as an empath, for example. That could also lead to a sense of like hypersensitivity at times, almost being overstimulated by what you're picking up from people and circumstances around you. So you may have really had to learn to invest in some kind of spiritual practice to keep your energy balanced, to keep perspective, to keep grounded. It may be something where you've sought solace through meditation, through connection with your ancestors, with your spirit guides, the energy of being heavily protected, almost in the essence of this high vibration, the channels that you sort of lean in toward in times of trouble, or kind of a path that you are walking at this point in time toward actively raising your vibration, not just striving for that, but actively taking steps by kind of listening to that sort of higher guidance, or even being open to the possibilities of kind of the nature of life and reality outside of what is kind of commonly accepted as those mundane barriers and framework. There's a sense here of a tarot reader picking up on a lot of clairsenses, again, like intuition, but maybe like claircognizance, clairaudience, clairsentience, a sense of you having a lot of activity going on in the astral realm, in the dream realm. So this can tie into downloads that come through, a sense of a tarot reader almost telling this person, if you were ever to sort of relay a dream that you had to them, that there's something to listen to about that. There are kind of deeper messages. It's a way in which your spirit guides or your ancestors or the divine communicate with you. That you are somebody who is deeply in touch, maybe with particular a lineage that you originate from, some kind of practices of a spiritual nature in some way, kind of the essence of tradition, coming back home to self, being very grounded within your roots, kind of the torch bearer for your line or for your lineage. That these are all factors that it feels like equate with kind of the knowing of who you are as an individual and what you bring to the table. That it's almost not just a relationship with you, it's a relationship with your ancestors and your spirit guides and your angels and kind of everybody that you work with, everybody that supports and surrounds you. That channel is open for a very particular reason. These are not just kind of arbitrary gifts or abilities that you have just for sheer entertainment value, but in some way it influences or defines sort of how you move through the world, how you've learned to navigate through this life experience, or maybe even something that once you've opened up to these gifts or sought to cultivate them or accept them within yourself, it has signaled kind of a chapter or change maybe that you're still in the midst of or just getting ready to embark upon, or are in some phase of kind of understanding or actualizing kind of a bigger path or a priority toward the cultivation of peace within self as almost kind of an armament against sort of the chaos and ambient energies and influences of the world sort of around you. So there's a sense of almost, if this person that we're getting the reading were more sort of spiritually inclined or had been curious about that there's a like-mindedness there. There's the essence of you can both kind of teach and learn from one another in that capacity, but that this is something that it almost feels like you're at a point in your life, or this connection in general is one of those types of relationships that's out of the ordinary. So a tarot reader would most likely tell this person to sort of take everything they've known about relationships up to this point in time and widen the boundaries on that, or sort of throw all those definitions out the window altogether. That this is a whole new experience. This is almost kind of like fate, destiny, fortune, stars aligning in just the perfect kind of time and manner to where the two of you have entered one another's lives. A bigger purpose or kind of lesson that this romance may be sort of wanting to nudge the two of you to embark upon individually or together. This can even tie into kind of the essence of encountering the one, for example. You've moved through time and space, all these kind of cycles and lessons and experiences, and here you are with one another now. And so a sense of almost a tarot reader encouraging this person not to judge a connection or a potential connection with you by sort of the standards of what they've known in love and partnership up to this point in time, or even almost kind of what they're looking for in general at this point in time, because this connection, to invest in it, to continue to explore, almost allowing their guides or the ancestors or their angels to sort of nudge them perhaps in the direction of investing with you further, that this is kind of an occurrence or an experience which fundamentally can reshape them spiritually. There may be a lot of kind of ascension that goes on, a spiritual awakening that happens, a sense of almost kind of exceeding the limits of what they have thought was possible in terms of love and partnership, adding in a sort of a thread or an element of a deep spiritual symbiosis, which may have been something lacking in both of your lives, romantically speaking, up to this point in time. So it's the essence of almost a connection which allows for breathing room and kind of an exploration in more of the subtleties, or the roads often less traveled in terms of qualities and experiences that are important or are uplifting or create a sense of stability and safety within interpersonal relationships. That you are a very spiritual person. You bring in a lot of spiritual energies. You bring a lot to the table in that capacity. And that it's something that if this person is able to kind of open their mind to what might occur for them spiritually as a result and a byproduct of kind of being in a romantic connection with you, that this is something in terms of their own kind of personal ascension, elevation, and growth, that their narrative arc can shift in an upward manner in a very profound way, as they continue to kind of align with you or embark upon kind of this flight beyond whatever sort of the ground level of romance has been for the two of you up to this point in time. There's a sense of obviously challenges. It's life. No romantic connection or any kind of connection is without the need to compromise or kind of touching on nerve endings on occasion, and sort of needing to sort of rework and ease down on people's kind of egos and their intentions, what they think they bring to the table, what they need, what they want, all of that complication that sort of makes for the fine tuning of a very unique relationship between two individuals. There's almost a sense here of kind of beyond all of that. Overall, this is a connection which has a lot of possibility that is within reach to be a deeply satisfying connection for two people, for the you and this other person, in a way that it's almost, even if the connection were to end at some point in time, there'd largely be good memories to look back upon. Quite likely that this is again the essence of sort of finding the one in some capacity. So kind of the person that you'll grow old with, or the one you come into yourself with, the one you can be yourself with, the one that kind of challenges and frees their partner all at the same time, and that all of that is sort of available in a romantic connection with you at this stage in your life, and that this specific connection has kind of come about through a series of choices and consequences, and how two people have sort of navigated through that. Again, the hands of like fate and destiny, definitely weaving together something very unique here. So let's get a few more oracle cards and see what else a tarot reader would tell them, and then I'll get a little bit of advice, what that tarot reader would tell this person as far as moving forward with a connection with you. Okay, so we've got lizard, bee, panther, and oyster. So this oyster energy definitely brings about the essence of not judging a book by its cover, that whatever you are presenting as, or whatever this person knows of you up to this point in time, however deep in a connection you would be, or maybe it's even just somebody considering kind of making a move towards you, that there's a sense of you hold a lot of hidden treasures, a lot of wisdom, a lot of wonders, that you do not kind of give away your secrets right away. So it's a sense of the connection would be the type of thing that only ripens with time. Different layers unfold. That this is a situation almost where this person would be encouraged to sort of take their time. Just as you kind of listen to your guidance, you listen to your intuition. You've got a very strong connection with ancestors and spirit guides and whatnot. There's also a sense of this can help to kind of get this individual in the pattern of sort of following suit or strengthening in various ways their own kind of pursuits of that nature. By following your lead in the sense of mindfulness, they too are then able to kind of unearth treasures within them, new ways to sort of show up in a connection, a degree of patience that may be required as well before this person would understand kind of the full package of what they are getting, but in a way that would be a pleasant surprise. The energy of lizard, this is definitely talking about metamorphosis, transformation. Again, that energy of sort of taking everything that they've known of romantic partnerships as far as the list of qualities they may have been looking for in an individual, that a tarot reader might tell them that any ways in which you sort of deviate or don't fit into kind of that prescribed sort of idea or a list of what they were looking for, they would be well suited to sort of abandon that list and invest in this connection with you, because it's something that, again, there's more than meets the eye, or whatever version of you that they are encountering. This is not kind of the final product. This is not sort of, the end of your journey, that there is kind of a higher stream of co-creation that you are involved in, that connection to intuition, that connection to kind of the higher realms, that angelic energy, that spiritually based energy, that this is something that you may be kind of in the process of stepping into your own role as a healer, as a spiritual guide, deeper into your own spiritual practice that only sort of helps to enhance you with time. So an investment in a situation with you, continuing to grow and develop with you, or making a move towards you, it feels like is something that could open this person's eyes to sort of what they had been needing all along as a component of a romantic connection that they didn't know that they were looking for, but that you provide that, whatever has drawn this person to you in terms of surface level qualities or the time you spent with one another. There's almost an emphasis on sort of the spiritual richness that you bring to the table in romance and in all your interpersonal relationships. This is something to be valued. It is something to be cherished. It is something that can definitely help to kind of transform and it feels like almost sort of heal wounds of disappointment from love in the past, because this isn't just a love story that can turn out better than, say, things before had, but it's almost something where you kind of help to encourage people to sort of find that level of higher love within themselves and then kind of become that emanation outwardly, which ties into this idea of be and kind of this co-creative energy, a sense of, that you are very sort of open-minded, you are connected with kind of a higher plane or a higher frequency, and you really kind of, a relationship with you would help to sort of uplift or further one's own sort of spiritual pursuits. That, the sweetness that is to be experienced, the full essence, the bounty of what you are and who you are and what you bring to the table. This is only something which is able to kind of be savored or experienced through kind of calmness, through patience, through the ability to sort of work with kind of both the experiences exchanged between the two of you, but then also kind of this force or this factor of, again, like ancestors and spirit guides, and that a tarot reader may even say that this connection is a conduit or a bridge to the person making the inquiry, start to establish that relationship with that equivalent for themselves, their own sort of spirit team, to rely upon that, to look at that as a co-creative energy as opposed to just ego and kind of present 3D influences. And with the idea of panther, and again, it speaks to a very heightened intuition, a sense of a higher calling or a purpose there, something as far as kind of your ability to really serve as a balm or a medicine to wounds that people have sustained in the heart in the past in terms of relationships that they've been in. Maybe there's even a lot of kind of energies of healing that come through in terms of past lives that you and this individual have shared with one another, that in this lifetime, this connection as it's unfolding right now is meant to be that source of healing for heaviness that you've carried around that has kind of compelled you through time and space to the point where now you're intersecting with one another again. that this is not just an opportunity to experience a loving partnership with another person who is aligned deeply on many levels, including the spiritual plane, but there's almost a sense of kind of making up for lost time here, or really being able to kind of rewrite history in a sense for yourselves personally through kind of the good times that you could create with one another in the here and now, which helps to offset the disappointment maybe of a connection that couldn't be in the past, like two ships passing in the night, or a collection of lifetimes where you missed each other altogether on the earth plane. This would almost be the kind of connection, it feels like, where there would be a lot of deja vu, there'd be probably a lot of telepathy going on, a lot of familiarity, a lot of kind of past life visioning, things coming through in the dream space, layers to this connection that exceed the 3D, kind of like a quantum connection here in the material plane. That might have even led to a sense of a person kind of going to get a reading. What is the nature of this? Why does this feel so intense? Why do I feel so drawn to this person? And yet there's all this other kind of stuff happening, spiritually speaking. And it feels like a tarot reader would point that out, that there's something here as far as facing that shadow, facing that fear, that on the other side of that, there's a richness, there's a reward there. There's something that both of your souls have almost called you to this point in time to interface with one another, face those fears within, and kind of lean into the place of the nudges, the spiritual guidance, that kind of higher plane reality that sort of brings one up beyond sort of conditions and parameters towards the limitlessness, towards the possibilities. That's what's available in a connection with you, in this present situation with you. So let's get some advice. What would this tarot reader tell this person about the idea of pursuing a relationship with you or remaining in a relationship with you? Okay, so we have know thyself and forgiveness. So definitely would be the encouragement to take that leap of faith towards you. Do not let this person get away. It's a sense of you would not forgive yourself if you miss this opportunity with this individual. This essence here carries very heavily the vibes, and you may have been this already for somebody else or multiple people, but it's the sense of you represent the one that got away. That you're an opportunity for individuals to sort of experience higher level love on the earth plane. And so a tarot reader would most likely let this person know that it is in their highest good and in their best interest to continue to explore this connection, as much as it might kind of trigger some nerves of fearfulness. This connection's intense, these feelings are intense, there's a lot happening energetically speaking that is beyond kind of my capacity to comprehend at this time. Nevertheless, it's a sense of almost don't miss out on this one, because whatever has kind of drawn you to this person up to this point in time, there's more than meets the eye. There's more that's still to be revealed. There's treasure, there's sweetness, there are qualities and aspects about not just who you would be, but almost kind of who you blossom into when you are loved properly, that might have even been a version of you that has been waiting to intersect with this person. Almost kind of like a gift that has been reserved just for them. It's a table just with their name on it. That, no matter how long it's been since you last encountered one another across multiple lifetimes, that in the here and now, that this is almost a sense of, the recipe's right, the stars are aligned. Here's that opportunity. Take that chance, because it may be, a very, very, very long time before kind of that right congruence happens again, and that fate smiles so kindly upon the two of you. So I'm gonna get some initials, and this can be a first, middle, or last name of you, or someone that you were wondering about if they would be getting a tarot reading about you, or just whatever resonates. Okay, we've got M, V, E, O, Q, P, U, L, A, O, D, and I. So hopefully you can see those. I didn't bring the bowl that I usually do my initials in, so hopefully that was good enough. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the Stichtite. So I'm just going to be using oracle cards for this reading, and let's see, what would a tarot reader tell this person about you if they went in for a love reading? The Blade, the Lower World, Wild Woman, and Many Paths. So there's a sense here of you being a person who is a bit of an enigma, a bit of a mystery, a bit of a wild card, something that it feels like there's a sense of a tarot reader may be wondering sort of how badly does this person want to be in a romantic connection with you, because in order to kind of actualize the potential, it's going to require them to sort of shed limitations beyond themselves, step into a place of vulnerability that they might not be used to, a sense of almost you kind of being placed in their path as kind of an incentive for them to move out of a place of stagnancy they may not have even realized they settled into in themselves, in their life in general. And that there could be a lot that is very triggering about the nature of disclosure, self-expression, kind of a degree of effort that they may be needing to put forward very consistently and from the beginning. That is something that they're not used to. This could almost be a situation where this is somebody who is used to having a lot of suitors, a lot of people pursue them. Being the object of a lot of people's affection and attention. And it feels like in a situation, if this was someone asking about with you, that it's almost like those tables would be turned, that they would find themselves in the position of, obsessive thinking or pining or wondering or kind of fantasizing about the future, and might feel very disempowered in that sense, to where it may lead to a lot of questions and hence lead to them going to get a reading. But there's a sense here of almost kind of development and progression along the path towards whatever might blossom between the two of you, romantically speaking. That is only something which is able to be perceived or kind of recognized or even tapped into through a series and kind of a sequence of choice points, almost like crossroads moments that it feels like the universe has embedded within kind of what is required in order of this person for their own personal growth, or to maybe take down some kind of barriers that they have around their heart or their concepts of love, or how they've been showing up in loving partnerships that can yield a lot of, it feels like, unexpected truths within themselves, or a version of them that doesn't normally show up in romantic connections, that is kind of the byproduct of, it feels like, what would be almost a stance that this person would be taking towards you in the idea of a connection, or moving further into a connection with you, that it's not the way they usually sort of posture in connections. It's not the way that they usually feel. This is something where you disarmed them in some kind of way. Their usual sort of tactic or position has been compromised in a certain sense, and it requires an up leveling. It requires a degree of sort of vulnerability or honesty in order to be able to kind of move in closer to sort of see or savor what feels to be a very magnetic draw. That it's something that it requires kind of almost leaving defenses behind, but the result of that is it feels like almost a sparking of a deep potential, or some kind of a deeper alignment with a sense of almost passion or encouragement, kind of challenging in a very constructive manner, that almost might not be something they've ever experienced in partnerships. So this could be the kind of person that maybe just has only had surface level relationships, and there's a sense here of there's depth available in this connection, but it wouldn't necessarily be obvious immediately or even able to be picked up by a reader, other than the fact that it's like there are deeper layers of kind of experience that's available, but it requires sort of an acceleration or even kind of a cutting away of defenses or self-protection or ways in which kind of a rut or a stagnancy as far as approaching love and partnerships, that in some way you've been kind of placed in this person's path to kind of break them out of a cycle of limitation, that there's much more available for them in life and even in love, to where it almost feels to be something that this could even be a situation where there's kind of a beginning and an end date to it, but something where there's profound transformation on a personal level that is experienced through that process of answering that call, allowing that magnetization to sort of draw this person beyond their defenses, opening up, approaching love and partnership in a way that they don't usually do. There's a sense here with this energy of the blade really encouraging to, keep lines of communication open, to be very open and vulnerable and honest with oneself first and foremost, to kind of move at a progressive pace and without being too attached to expectations, labels, definitions, time frames. That it's almost the sense of a long progression can all of a sudden become fast-tracked, and there'll be a need to kind of open up to the receptivity of almost a greater bounty within love sooner than expected. That you'd be somebody who's kind of full of surprises, challenges, somebody who, would keep a romantic partner on their toes because you are maybe in a process of evolving, or you have multiple layers and facets to you that, until someone kind of experiences a certain polarity or spectrum, that can't gain access to that other side of you or these other faces of you. So it's something where you're a person who values consistency, imagination, kind of a spark or a zest for charting kind of new trails and pathways in life and also in love. So there's a sense of, again, stepping outside of one's comfort zone, but also an ability to experience something that it feels like on an interpersonal level, most specifically, might be kind of part of maybe a karmic lesson that this person is needed to learn in this lifetime, ways in which they have sort of set up an armor around themselves to kind of guard against getting hurt again in love, or a heartbreak they hadn't properly healed the first time around, that you may be somebody that helps to kind of free them from that process, free them from that kind of element of just stuffing or suppressing things down, kind of holding the hurt within themselves and not letting anyone in too close. That you almost, this connection in some way functions as like a liberator to all of that, but it might be scary for this person, kind of the idea of letting those defenses down. Who am I without this pain that I'm kind of dragging along behind me, or within me rather, that there's a sense of kind of more than meets the eye. It's more than just romance as far as why the two of you have crossed paths. So let's get a few more oracle cards to see what else a tarot reader would tell this person about you. And then I'll get some guidance to see what they would tell them as far as approaching the relationship, or investing further, or continuing to kind of go with the flow of getting to know you. Okay, so we have buffalo, gazelle, elk, and lion. So this energy of gazelle is definitely a sense of you're not going to wait around for somebody to choose you, that this person needs to be very clear as far as promises they make, what they are capable of bringing to the table. Consistency is the only way to kind of get past those gatekeepers as far as discovering those other sort of layers of subtlety and nuance, and the possibilities and the passion of what a romance with you could look like and could be experienced as. But that in order to kind of experience that and receive that and continue to sort of participate with that, it requires, it almost feels like a level of consistency or imagination on their part as far as ways to be very present and engaged within the connection that they might not be used to. They could be used to people trying to kind of prove their worth to them or vying for their attention. This feels like completely the opposite, where now they're going to be the one that's kind of, the pressure is on them to sort of catch your eye, to keep your attention. A sense of that you wouldn't be single for long, or you wouldn't be at a shortage of suitors. And so there's almost a sense of kind of respect for the sacredness of the energy that you bring to the table, who you are as a person, how you love, what people are able to discover within themselves, what's able to be kind of sparked or fired up through the experience of entering into romance, opening up the heart, allowing even those scars and those wounds to be seen for what they are. There's a sense here of a tarot reader telling them that you could help to lead this person beyond their personal pain, because in some way, maybe even with that lower world, you in some way have mastered or are in the process of mastering, kind of alchemizing your pain into purpose, into potential. You've become more loving as opposed to embittered. And so that can feel to be almost something as kind of a bigger point of destiny or fate, why the two of you may have encountered one another, or part of like a soul contract, a karmic contract with one another, is that you might be somebody who is here to kind of open the cage that this person has been living within, that they've kind of had around their heart, or they built around their heart or their life in general, in order to kind of keep heartbreak out, and to sort of hold on to wounds that they haven't known how to deal with before. So there's an essence here of you being like a healer, or having some sort of healing energy, maybe even just through spending time with one another and kind of building upon those loving feelings. There's a sense of almost kind of helping this person in a way to sort of refine or redefine their willingness to sort of let the past go, leave the past behind, and move forward towards love with kind of a beginner's mind. That there's a capacity here, or a potential here, to sort of learn to love, or learn to fall in love as if you've never been hurt before. And so the idea of that, again, it feels like could be something that might be very uncomfortable or scary, or this person doesn't necessarily know how to operate in that capacity. And so you would almost be the one kind of leading in that sense. So a lot that they might be able to kind of glean and learn from you as far as your experiences in this lifetime, who you are as a person, even just kind of holding that knowledge that this essence that you've come into, this kind of like mutable sort of wild card kind of energy, maybe this wasn't the way you started off. You've kind of crafted this version of you. You are kind of a living work of art, very sort of multifaceted, multidimensional, even in your essence and nature. And that, for this person to open themselves up, or to continue to open themselves up to the idea of developing something romantically, it feels like will help to kind of loosen some anchors that they may have had within themselves over grievances in the past, disappointments in love, even kind of a lack mentality within themselves as far as what they bring to the table. There's a sense of a connection with you, or choosing to invest or continue to move in deeper with you in some way, you can help to kind of teach this person healthy self-esteem, strength within vulnerability, strength within kind of honoring those scars within self, and still being brave enough to give love another opportunity. So let's get some guidance and see what a tarot reader would tell this person to do as far as how to proceed with you moving forward. Okay, we have abundance and prism. So there's definitely a sense here of keeping an open mind as far as what about you it is that they discover on the other side of their willingness to kind of give a piece of themselves. It's almost like they take down a layer of their armor. Here's some kind of treasure within you that is kind of brought forth to them. Here's this kind of unexpected perspective, this wisdom, almost kind of a sense of feeling a lightness within themselves, a lightness of the soul, a lightness of the spirit that is the byproduct of almost trusting in the love that is offered, or the call toward that. So the guidance and the advice would be, you know, to see that bigger picture, to look at this as uncomfortable as it may feel, or as much as it might sort of press on those trigger points and those buttons, as far as like, I don't know if I can be this open and honest with somebody. I've not been this honest with myself in years. That this is kind of a gift from the universe. This connection, you in this person's life, is sort of serving the purpose as the way shower, way beyond the pain, or a way to kind of alchemize or transmute that pain into something of purpose and meaning and wisdom, as opposed to just a weight that limits one from opportunities and experiences. So it's a sense of kind of looking at the higher perspective, trusting in that mystery of sort of what is meant to kind of unfold in this situation beyond just if this person chooses to move forward in love, or to express their feelings, or to continue to sort of invest in a connection with you, that on a personal level there's a way to almost provide solace to them deep within the soul. And so it's something to where following into that component of fear that may cause them to sort of remain in the shell, remain in the comfort zone, that their highest good is actually served in this situation by walking through that fear and then experiencing kind of the rewards on the other side of all of that essence of kind of they themselves are stronger as an individual through the willingness to kind of let go of that anchor of pain, and they get to enjoy you know, kind of whatever it is that unfolds with you, whatever is revealed, kind of whatever those layers of you are that are sort of hidden and confined more deeply within self. That this is the essence of kind of not expecting necessarily immediate results, but looking more at long range potential in the situation, to try not to kind of overwhelm themselves with the idea of sort of becoming fully open within the heart space, but almost kind of taking things one step at a time, knowing that a connection like this, a connection with you, helps to sort of bring them deeper into connection with themselves, which might be a relationship they've neglected for quite some time. So it's like a slow and steady progress energy here, but also celebrating these little kind of victories and milestones as well, as far as doing something in love and romance, presenting a version of themselves or an approach to somebody they are interested in or have feelings for, ways in which they step outside of the comfort zone, or come up with something entirely new or different, or compelled to take a different approach. These are things which are to be celebrated, in addition, in terms of like their development, their kind of acceleration beyond the version of themselves they've been up to this point in time. Also ties into the essence of really enjoying and savoring kind of the sweetness and the experience of all those different little subtle layers that are discovered within you, should they choose to move forward with the connection. So get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you, or someone that you would envision would be getting a tarot reading about you, or just anything that resonates. Okay, we've got L, Q, J, M, D, G, A, W, D, X, Y, and did not bring the bowl that I usually do the initials in, so I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully that's good enough. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.